Alright guys, today we're going to go over a quick video here talking about 3.2, the boiler stay. So real quick, I pull this over, that's the upper right hand corner, boiler stay. Keep in mind, this is one drawing, meaning this is the top view of the drawing and this is the front view of the drawing. So they're the exact same thing. But at the same time, this one's a little bit different centering because it's two objects you got to equally space, meaning there's three spaces within this title block I've got to draw it in. So originally we just would have one space. We'd divide that number by 2. Well, now because we have 3, what we need to do is break it up into 3 equal spaces when we go vertical spacing. So I went ahead and blown this up like I'd done in the previous units. And the first thing we need to figure out is how big our title block is. And I know that this thing is 7 5/8 tall, and I know it's 10.5 inches long. So we're just going to simply do our math here, and we're going to look at our object. Right away, I can already tell we're doing this in metric, and with that, in metric, which means from the center of this circle to the center of this circle is 110 millimeters. And I know that this has a radius of 22. The inside has a radius of 10. So this section from here out to here is 22. And I know from here out to there, oh wait, I don't know because it doesn't give me a measurement. But keep in mind, this is the top view, this is the bottom view. So this little hole here is represented by dotted lines with the center line because these center lines line up. Because this is the top section, notice from here to there it's 22. Here's this dotted line and center line. They represent these holes. So how do I know the distance from here to here? Well, I need to know the radius. So what do I need to do? I need to go to the top view, and I need to find the center, and I need to find the outside radius. So it's 18, which means from here to there is 18 millimeters. Therefore, this line projects down and touches here. So this gap right here is 18 millimeters. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, zoom in so we can kind of see what's going on. So we know this gap here is 18, and I know this space here is 22. So I'm going to add those together, okay? And now I have this in decimal form, fraction decimal form. So I need to get it into metric form because everything in here is metric. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and grab my metric scale. And I'm going to measure this space in millimeters. So there's the title block. There's the 0. So it looks like I'm 266 millimeters. So I'm going to go ahead and write 266. And I'm going to subtract all of these added up. So let's pull this calculator into the way. I'm going to go 18 plus 110 plus 22. And I'm going to subtract that by the 266. Now I'm going to come up with a negative number. It's just because I did it backwards. So 150. If I subtract it this way, I come up with the right number, 116. Now notice, even though there's two objects, when they're horizontally spaced, they're one object, which means there's still going to be two equal sides, equal spaces on each side. So what needs to happen is I need to take this 116 number and I need to divide it by 2 because there's two equal spaces. So I come up with 58. So I need to come over 58 millimeters. Then I need to come from here. I need to go 150 millimeters and then go another 58 to get my total length of 266. Alright, so that was going horizontally spacing, or vertical spacing, right? Now if we go horizontal spacing, there is two objects, which means I've got to break it up 3 different times instead of the 2. So let's just do the math. Remember, we're not in decimal form, we're in metric, so I need to simply measure this again. So it looks like here they are 194 I'd give him, or 193. 193. So we're going to go 193. And now we got to figure out what the spacing here of this object is. So we need to know this height, and we need to know this height. These are the heights we need to know. So right away, I know the height of this object by 22, because the radius from here to there is from here to there is from here to there is from here to here. So I just simply need to go, well, what's the diameter of this circle? Well, 22 times 2 would be 44. So this space is 44. 22 times 2 is 44. Now, secondly, what I need to do is figure out the center of the circle to the center of the circle. And it looks like it's telling me it's 50 millimeters from here to there. But I got to look at my radiuses for the outsides, right? Notice this one's 18, right? That one's 18. This one must also be 18. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to go 50 plus 18 plus 18. Bring the calculator over. My answer is 86. So this object height, total object height, is 86. So what I need to do is add these together, subtract them by that. So we're going to go 86 plus 44 equals 130. So I'm going to subtract that from 193, and I come up with 63. Now I got to divide this, but there's a space here, a space here, and a space here that I need to equally space in my box here. So I'm just simply going to divide that by 3. 1, 2, 3. Divide by 3. I come up with 21. So my space here is 21 millimeters down, then I go 86, then I go 21, then I go 44, then I go 21, and I've completely filled up the gap between there to here. Pretty easy, yeah? So I don't need to draw this on green paper. So we're going to go ahead and begin now. Remember, your divider is your favorite tool, is what it should be. So I know my horizontal length. I need to be going, looks like we wrote 58, so I need to go 58. And then from that point, I'm just going to go ahead and go my 150, because I know that's what it is. And those two lines represent my verticals. Remember, we're very, very light with this. I'm going to be a little bit darker so you guys can actually see.
Mrs. Weber, please call 2219. Mrs. Weber, 2219. Thank you.
So even though I'm going darker, please understand, do not go dark right away, because it becomes very hard to erase. Yes? So I'm going a little bit darker than I originally would, just so you guys can see the lines. Okay, so I equally spaced this. I know this is my object, 150, and I know these are equally spaced here. Now I got to do it the horizontal spacing. So my measurement was 21. So I'm simply just going to set it there. I'm going to go 10, 20, 21. And then I'm going to go 44, because that's how big this next object is. 45, 44. And then I'm going to go 21 again. It's very important you line your stuff up back to that hole. Okay, now I go 86. And 86 is way up here. Okay, and then this should be 21. And look at that, it is. Perfect. Okay, so now I have these vertical lines. I'm being very, very light, but for your case, I'm being a little bit darker so you guys can actually see it. Might have to be a little bit darker than that, just so you guys can see them better. Okay, now you can see them a little bit better. Let's darken this one up a little bit. There it is. Cool. Let's turn the light on. The light doesn't help. Let me do one thing. Let me see if I can turn the light off. Hey, that looks a lot better. Yeah, we're going to start doing that. All right, so here we go. We got our lines. You can see them a little bit better. Yeah, that works. Okay, now looking back at our object here, I need to break this up, and I'm simply going to draw my circles first and do what I can, or whatever line is the easiest. So I'm going to start at the bottom here. I know this is 10 millimeters, and it's a very light guideline across because I don't know where this ends. And the reason why I don't know where it ends is because it is to the bottom of this arc before it curves back up. So that's that point. This point is right before it curves up, goes flat, and curves back. So this is that flat spot right there. And these represent the outside of those circles. Okay, same here. And then these all go up here and represent that. To make this easy, I might just come up 22 and over 22 to find the center. Then I'll draw these circles. And then from there, I might transport these lines up so I can see things a little bit better, and then find the center here and work my way back. So let's start with the centers, and then let's start working our way around. We'll start with this bottom one. 22 up, 22 over, because my radius is 22. Up 22, over 22. I got an X. Centers, there's my circle. Now, I might as well go ahead and draw this line because I know that's the center. Let's go ahead and bring our circle in here. And I know the circle for the inside is a radius of 10, and I know this outside is a radius of 22. So, let's set the big one first at 22, and we're going to use our smaller compass to make it easy on ourselves. There's my center. Okay, and now I'm going to set it to 10 for the inside. Now this is a solid line, so I'm going to go ahead and darken it. Okay. My next point is I won't carry those ones up quite yet. I will come up 10 millimeters, just like it is here, but I will go very light because I don't know where it ends, just so I can have this line put up there. So, there it is. Okay, I don't know where it ends yet because I need these points up here. Okay, I can find these centers, but I might as well find these centers when I transport these lines down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this top one now. So I'm going to find the middle, and I'm going to draw the line here, and then I'm going to put these points in there and then carry this line over. So first thing I need to do is half of 86, right, would be 43. So I'm going to come down 43, or up 43, doesn't matter, right? And I'm going to double check to make sure it's good. And it is. Now I'm going to draw this line very light, but dark enough to where you guys can see it. Right? Looks good. Cool. Alright. Now I'm going to come back 18 to find the center. And then I'm going to go 18 plus 50. And that's going to be 68. So I'm going to come back 18, then I'm going to go 68 to find these vertical lines for the centers. And then 68. And then vertical lines. Okay. Now, from here, center to center, it's 50, and I know this is split in half, so I'm going to take half of 50 and come up 25 and down 25 to find the centers on here. That right there represents the center of my circles. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and draw those. Those need to be drawn at 18 as a radius. So bring this back over. Got my centers. Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing the wrong one, but we might as well do these ones. My screen froze. Hang on one second, guys. Okay. See, and I screwed that up. I didn't do it right. I'm at 19. 18's back a little ways. I'm going to grab that eraser real quick and erase this stuff. Trying to multitask there, and I'm never good at it. There we go. There it is. Come down here, do the same thing. Come over here and do this thing. There it is. I might as well draw this one again because it's going to be off. Okay. Alright. I have the outsides. Now I got to do this one. And the radiuses are 6 for this. But I'm not even going to try to bother drawing those. I'm just going to get a template. And remember, here's my metric template. So I'm going to go to the 6. I might sharpen this because I'm a little dull, but we're going to see how the first one goes. So remember, 6 is the radius, which means 12 is the diameter. So I'm going to line those little holes up. There it is. I'll transfer this line down to here. And here's the last one. Boing, bingo, bango. Okay. We're going to transport these lines down into a hidden section. So hidden lines, meaning they're dotted outside of those circles, just like that, right? Okay, and then the center line, might as well draw it, right? Center, long lines. There they are. Same thing here, center. Outside arcs. And I might as well come over here and do these center lines while we're at it. Two birds, one stone. Now horizontal lines. Okay, there's our center lines. Remember, it's small dash, long dash, small dash, long dash. Same for all these center lines. This here represents a hidden line because there's just a bunch of little dashes, which means there's holes in here. You just can't quite see them because they're on a front view. Okay, so I have this. Okay, I don't have this quite yet, so that's my next thing. Is I'm going to split 18 and a half or 16 and a half and go 16, and then we should be good to go. Notice the center line goes all the way across up to here, so I'm going to make sure I draw that too, just so people know that that is split in the center. And then I'll transfer these lines up once I get my perimeter made up. So half of 16 is 8. Now I got to go light guidelines. And I don't know how far back they go because I haven't brought anything else in, so I got to make sure I go light enough to where I can erase, but dark enough to where you guys can see it. Okay, there we are. Now I'm going to transfer these hidden lines up and center lines. So here's the center line. And now this center line. Okay, and now let's transfer these hidden lines up here. Remember, the whole point of a hidden line and a center line is that there's long dashes and short dashes in between. A hidden line is just going to have random amount of dashes with equally spaced, depending on the scale you put them. But it's important that there's a big difference between the two so a person can realize it. See, when I look here and I look at this, I probably should go a little bit longer with this one just so it looks more legit as a center line on both sides. Okay, alright, there she is. Now I might as well put this center line in. And this one in. Okay, there's those center lines. We're good to go there. Now my next point here, guys, is I have my lines drawn. Now we're getting to the point where we're starting to do our tangent radiuses. So looking back to our worksheet real quick, the things that we need to realize is we have a tangent radius outside two arcs, which means we're going to resort to this one. Tangent radius to outside two arcs. And what do? We add those radiuses. So I know both radiuses are 18, but I know the centers are different. So 18 plus my tangent radius is 50, so I'm going to set my compass to 68, right? Because I'll do the math in front of you. Here we go. We're going to go 50 is my tangent radius, plus my existing radius that I need to be tangent to, and because it's outside and it's 18, it comes up with 68. So we're going to bring it back over here, grab the big compass, I'm going to set it to 68. Now, I know that works for here. And here. Look how close we're outside. So it's important that you guys get start drawing with these right borders. Oh, I should have drawn this one too. Boom. So now I have my centers. And I need to set my center to my tangent radius of 50. So now I have the centers. Stab them. and now draw them. Now I know where they're going to be, so I'm going to darken it up. Bingo. Oh, I'm sorry, I moved that with my finger. There it is. Cool. So see, I'm barely touching, everything's good. Alright, so we have these arcs made, right? Now I got to get these arcs. So see how I got to make sure this comes back inside, because it is right off that point and this one's right off that point. And actually it might be a little bit of a vertical line if you look at it. So we're just going to see what happens. Make sure we go big enough so we can actually see the stuff going on here. Nope, it's probably not. Okay, so I need to go my 18 plus my 12. Makes sense? Because look, I'm tangent to that arc. I'm tangent to it. So I got to add the radius. So I'm going to go 12 plus 18. Comes up with 30. So I'm going to set my compass to 30. I'm going to arc it out of here. And now because I'm parallel to a line, we're going to look at this method right here. So I have a tangent radius to a parallel line, and my my radius and my parallel line method, I'm saying that all wrong. My tangent radius is tangent to a parallel line or a straight line into an arc outside of it. So I need to do the parallel method, or I can just use a 90 degrees on a straight line. It's the same freaking thing, right? But I need to go up 12. So we're going to flip this around. We're going to come up 12 from here and then down 12 from there. There's the 12. And here's the 12. Bingo bango. Now, I'm not going to bother drawing those yet because I need to set my compass to my 30 to draw these tangent radiuses out here. So, there it is. Okay, there's my center. Very light, right? Come over here, do it again. And now I'm going to transfer these lines over. And that's going to represent my center. And now I'm going to set it back to 12 because that's what the tangent radius is, 12. Keep moving it. There we go. Sweetness. Okay, so I got everything drawn now. Now we'll tidy everything up real quick. Okay, so this top section for the most part is all done except for how dark I need to come out here with this line here. But the next big challenge is this one right here, this big arc. Now it's the same method we did up here, but it's a larger radius, tangent radius. So I've got to go, remember, outside of it, so I got to go 22 plus the 125, okay? And then I've got to go 125 parallel off this line up here to find a center where it arcs that tangent radius, or that adjusted tangent radius. So 125, I would just love to do the math in front of people, plus my tangent radius of 22. So I need to set my compass to 147 from that center and arc way out here. Okay? Now, my next one, I'm just going to come up 125, and I'm going to set my compass back to 125 for that. So 147, yeah? This one's not going to do it. Let's see if this one will. Whoa, look here. 147 is way the heck out here. I know that this compass can't make 147. So we're going to end up using our beam compass. Okay? So the beam compass is really easy. This back spot doesn't lock, but to lock the front, you got to open it here like so, and then you can slide it. It's rough, which is good. If you need it looser, loosen it up some more. Okay, so I need to set this radius to 147. So I'm simply just going to use this scribe right here and pull it out to 147. There it is. I'm going to lock it now. Okay, remember I got to come from this center, so I'm going to go right here to way up here, and I'm going to arc it kind of a bit weird, but it's kind of be all over the place, so I know my 125 is up here. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to set it to 125 off that parallel line, right? Okay. Stab my divider. Okay. And now I'm going to transport that line across to where it arcs this arc here. So I stabbed on this vertical line, so I would stay perpendicular, right? So I'm parallel at that exact measurement of 125, and then I came over here and I stabbed it. So if I was to measure this, just so I'm clarifying this, that's 125 right there. You can't see the dot, but you kind of get the idea. Now I'm going to set my compass back to 125 so I can scribe from that center down here to find my tangent radius here. So here we go. Break it loose, right? Just like you all know. Let's put it somewhere you guys can see. Break it loose. Slide it forward to 125. Lock it. Okay. Come back, stab. And now I'm going to draw it. Boom. And now I got to continue drawing that. Like so. Darken all this up. There it is. That's dark. Darken all this up now. Now I know the end of this one. Actually, I won't do that one until I can project the end of this line, which is at that peak, and the end of this dark line, or I mean this solid line, which is at that point. So I kind of already know what's it's happening here, so I'm going to go tangent to the outside, dark, and then I'm going to go to the bottom of this arc, which I'd probably go right there, and I'll kind of go like this, just so I know the end of it. Boom. There it is. See how it ended? Okay, might as well come up here and do the same thing, but this time it's the bottom of this arc. Right there, which means it goes here and there. So now I know where to stop. Get back on my line. There it ends. There it ends. Right? Might as well darken all this other stuff up now. There it is. Everything's looking good. Now all I got to do is make sure I got my center lines. Center lines, hidden lines, center line, center lines. Now I just got to erase. So I'm just going to simply go over here and I'm going to try to get rid of all these other ones real quick. The big ones, right? Notice I'm not getting really fine quite yet because I'm going to use my erasing shield to get in there and get all these other ones out. Does that make sense to you? Now, before I turn this into myself, or if you would turn it into me, you would use your erasing shield and tidy up all this little stuff. Make sure you do it with the right tools so you can clean everything up and make it look pretty. Yeah, now I'm going to stop because I don't need to do this entire thing in front of you guys on cleaning it up, because at this point you guys should know what's going on. So, might as well just erase this like that. And I did it light enough to where it erased it, but it kept everything else. And if I wanted to, I'd go back and darken it. And of course, before you turn it in, you'd want to darken it. Notice my spacing here, though. My spacing here is the same as it is from here to here, as it is from here to there. Same here, here to here. It's all the same. It's very important they're all centered, yeah? Alright, amigos.